Joe, really good to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really
Of
appreciate it
course.
also.
Yeah, we just started talking about a little bit about your background, and I was like, let me hit record because we need this. But yeah, just really interesting. You grew up in Michigan, moved to Florida, and your parents started a Hungry Howie's. They're Hungry Howie's franchisees, right?
Yeah, well, they actually moved to Florida first with just a handshake deal. But my dad didn't do that initially. He was a tool and die salesman, didn't like it, kind of was looking for something else, contacted his brother-in-law in Michigan, and they kind of gave him the blessing and the handshake deal and said, hey, if you want to give it a shot, go ahead. No strict franchise agreements, no recipes they had to follow. So they were allowed to make pizza the way that we make them today, really gourmet, high quality ingredients. So it was kind of a unique situation, kind of the okay to kind of expand the operations and see how it went in Florida, and then turned it out to be gangbusters for them.
That's really interesting. And I bet doing pizza at a high level in the 1980s was like made it very unique, especially maybe in Florida.
Oh yeah, we had a few guys that came down from Michigan that kind of knew what they were doing to help my parents initially,
Yeah,
and we had Baker's Pride ovens, deck ovens, and I still have a few small little scars, from those
sure.
tops and bottoms. You hit them, then you react, and you touch the top, and you burn your top part of your arm. Um, but yeah, we started with the Baker's Prides, and then we actually had to move to conveyor ovens because the volume just got too crazy. We had to move a lot of pizzas.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, what was it like growing up around that operation, and did it make you want to go into pizza or make you not want to, at least when you were young?
Man, what was it like? I was eating a lot of pizza as a kid. Free pizza, a
Yeah,
lot of free pizza. And it was just kind of cool. I'd get off of school and I'd come in there and I hang out. I'd play video games. When I was, 12 years old, 13
sure.
years old, I was more interested in playing video games, begging for quarters. I'd help out here and there. But we had a big video game room in there. And my dad always says that he basically paid his rent off the video games, Asteroids, Pac-Man, Space Invaders, all those famous games back in the day. Um, Fun times, a lot of memories. And my sister helped out also in the restaurant. So we'd go after school and just we'd help eat food. And then as I got older, 15, 16, excuse me, 17, I started doing more of the operation stuff, doing dough, just prepping, help my parents in any way we could, serving pizzas. It was just a full dine-in. They also had a drive-in or drive-through for a while. And back then it was so much different because you didn't have POS systems. You had little spindles that you would write all your order on a piece of paper, a little ticket book, and then at the end of the night, you'd have to rectify or reconcile the spindles to your orders and your basic cash register. So no internet. It was just a different world, simpler, I guess, and a lot less complicated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's right. Um, so you obviously broke into pizza later in your career. What were you doing early? What was your first career?
Well, I had aspirations of becoming a famous actor. I
Okay,
mentioned this before, but I'll give you the short version unless you want the long version. But I did some theater with my buddy who in community college ended up doing so well. They gave me a full ride to Florida Southern College, I think it was in Lakeland, Florida, and I didn't take it because I said, if I'm going to do this, I want to go to Hollywood and go where it's happening. But before that, I had done some stuff in Orlando and been in some movies like Passenger 57. I was a SWAT team member at the very beginning of the movie.
really?
And then Lethal Weapon. Yeah, I was in that. China Moon with Ed Harris. So I was kind of like you know, had other dreams. I didn't really kind of my parents were kind of grooming me. They eventually got out of the pizza business and sold. They had like six or seven at one time and just sold them all off. So I was too a little too young to get groomed and they were so busy. So I just kind of had other directions, other ideas, went to Hollywood and eventually met my wife and stayed out there. So, as you're young, you're doing different jobs, but I realized I needed to get serious to get benefits and take care of my kids. So I went into law enforcement. So I figured if I can do law enforcement gigs in acting where they cast me as an officer, maybe I can do it for real. So I did. I applied and got hired, and it was a great career. I had a lot of fun. So almost 20 years in law enforcement,
Yeah.
almost, and really good time. It did patrol, did the jail operations, and it provided a great living for my family. But always through the years, I always kind of thought I kind of missed a calling,
Yeah.
being in it when I was a kid. I always kind of felt like every couple years would go by, I talked to my wife saying, honey, maybe we should do a pizza shop, and then it would just kind of fade away, fade away.
Sure.
And then around 2019, I started experimenting with my family's recipe. And because I really wanted to kind of get back into it. I wasn't thinking about opening a pizza shop. We weren't even thinking about moving to Montana permanently. It was kind of just let's do it. I really am getting older now. So my wife allowed me to convert our kitchen into a test pizza kitchen and started making pizzas, experimenting with New York style, and then eventually branched out with Detroit's. And the neighbors in the community, they were smelling all the, so we live in like an apartment complex,
Yeah.
and they would smell all the smells flowing through our vent, I guess. They were, what's going on in there? What are you guys doing? And then it was telling me, hey, we're just experimenting. Oh, can I get one for Friday night? Can I get this? And before you know it, people were hitting us up. They wanted pizza all the time. And so I knew I had something, and I had this family sauce recipe, and my wife, she had a couple tweaks that she added to the sauce that made it just go over the top. So our sauce is like pizza sauce crack. I mean, it's so good. It's just really good. People rave about our sauce. So after doing that, and then kind of started to realize I didn't want to leave law enforcement a little bit early, so I left some years on the table, and I said, honey, why don't we move early to Montana? We'll just open a pizza shop. I've always wanted to do it, so we started developing a business plan. Got with the bank. It's a miracle by God, I guess, that I got approved because they knew I was leaving law enforcement, which is a really good paying career,
Hmm.
and they were willing to take a shot on me with my business plan, coming to Montana, leaving that income. So everything just kind of just worked out perfectly for us. And so that's kind of how it started. I just went from um, doing it in the house to have an idea, leaving law enforcement early. Let's do the pizza shop. And the name came about because we did a hike in Glacier National Park.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to get into
No,
that,
I
but
do. We were going to. So tell the story. Yeah.
so we did a hike in Glacier National Park in 2017, I believe it was, and it was up in Kitna Lake, which is in Glacier National Park, and it's the northwest corner. It's very grizzly territory and just kind of rough. And this particular hike, when I read it online, it says mildly elevated, and it seemed like a pretty chill hike. It was like 7 of us or 8 of us, my nephews, my son-in-law, a good friend, my sons, and we get on this hike, and all of us took way too much stuff. We took stuff for like a week. We had these big packs on our back, tents, survival food. Each of us had our own stove. You need one stove. As a group, we had each have our own stove. Um, so it was just way too much. After about a half an hour in, the guys on the trip were like, "Hey man, can you like take some of my stuff because you got less?" We're trying to pass off on other people. And then my nephew almost broke his ankle, twisted it really bad. We were thinking we were going to have to airlift him out or maybe like hike back, but he
Oh.
toughed it out. And then my buddy had a real bad wound, like rubbing wound from the backpack strap on his side. So we get there that night after about 4.5 hours, 6.5 miles one way, 6.5 miles back. We figured it'd be a great time to spend the night, fish in the morning, have some food. It was the hottest summer in 10 years and the hottest day in 10 years. And the path had not been maintained. So it was like overgrown and we had to like chop through it and stuff. And we couldn't find it sometimes. So we're like, where's it going?
Oh
And we're
my
all at the
God.
same time, we're all freaked out about grizzlies coming after us. We're saying, hey, bear, every 5 minutes. And so I'm in the front the whole time. Granted, I'm the oldest guy. I was like, I don't know, 49, maybe 40, yeah, maybe 48. But and I was just gun ho because I set this up and I didn't want to fail. I was, come on, how are you gonna get there, motivate everybody? So we get there. The next day we couldn't really do anything. The fish wouldn't come to the shore because it's so hot, couldn't fish. So we just packed up and basically hiked back 6.5 miles. It was torture in a way. None of these guys had been more than half a mile or mile hiking. So either me either. But we got through it. So the next day at dinner, my family decides to promote me from Scoutmaster Joe to Ranger Joe. And they had bought a badge at the park that says Ranger Joe on it. So yeah, it was really cool. I got video of it. It's somewhere. I think it's online. But so as I started doing the pizza shop in the home, my wife goes, "Hey, why don't you just name your little pizza shop in the house Ranger Joe's?"
Yeah.
So I got like a little banner made in the kitchen and put it up and stuff like that. So when we decided to do the real legit pizza shop, that's how the name Ranger Joe's came about.
And that's a thing. Like when I looked over your stuff, the branding and messaging is so it's unique, it's consistent, and it's just like it's perfect. I mean, can you talk a
Thank
little
you.
bit about that, sort of like landing on that and then just like going with it? I mean, you have this slogan that you could say, all that. Just kind of tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's kind of in my blood, obviously, because the acting background. I don't mind being on camera. I usually
Yeah.
like a one take wonder. My guys who videotape me say, "Man, it's a one take wonder." But so the branding, it's critically important, obviously, when you're starting out and you're a young new business. You want to make yourself stand out amongst the crowd. You want to make people realize that there's something different about you. So we designed the branding around the mountain adventurous theme, and the slogan is "Adventure is not complete without pizza."
Yeah.
So that was the first thing that I got. I trademarked that. So I wanted to make sure I trademarked that. And then we also trademarked Ranger Joe's Pizza. So that was real important. So once the branding, I just like being online. I'll try to do it daily, just so the community sees what we're doing. We introduce some products, processes. I don't really care what we show as long as everything, looks professional. Um, you know, we've got a couple guys at the shop now that we have two. They're kind of spread out. I was thinking like a little hiatus, like almost 2 months, almost 3 months, where I was really doing nothing because we're building out the second location. And I kind of felt bad. I was like, man, I feel like I'm missing, sharing what we're doing. But just branding is very, very critically important. People like to see what you're doing. They like to be involved. They want to be part of the adventure of what's happening, the growth. And I always post my customers when I can. I post my employees when I can. Like we just had a golfing activity yesterday at the mini golf that's right next door to where we're at, like, 30 feet. And we got all our employees together, did like a team building activity. And I posted videos of that because I want the employees to be involved too. Hey, we're having fun.
Yeah.
We had food. My wife made spaghetti, and it was a closed event at our shop. And yeah, just there's so much you can do. You just have to post. I talked to a lot of people, and they're like, oh, yeah, I should be doing it. I should be posting businesses in the area. It doesn't matter. Post a picture of an ice cream, in front of your drive-through uh, door, or window, and just customers coming up and it's speeded up, just people picking up ice creams, whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as you're posting, you're being interactive, Google, Facebook, they're going to see that you're constantly posting content. And even if it's not the best or you're getting the most amount of views, they see that you're a regular poster and they like that. And that'll
Yeah.
push that out to a larger audience.
It strikes me as that team event is probably such a good way because there's these younger people, they love being shown, on the gram or social channels, and they can
Oh,
share
yeah.
it. And yeah.
If they see themselves on it, they're like, wow, I was on Ranger Joe's profile. They like it. They like it when I ham it up with them or include them and include your employees too, because they want to be included too.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's very well said. Yeah. So talk to us about so you launched the first location. You said it opened in 2019 or was it post pandemic? When was it?
Well, it was 2021. So
2021.
it's kind
Okay.
of like it was just past the middle of the pandemic, and we didn't have any of the restrictions in Montana when we opened here.
Yeah.
Um, the governor had gotten rid of the 6 feet rule and the distancing and the plexiglass and all that kind of stuff. So when we opened, it was almost like the pandemic never really happened. It was kind of nice. People would still come in with masks because some people are
Sure.
maybe have health issues or they just want to extra cautious.
Yeah.
But we didn't like mandate it to our employees.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it must have been, and I'm sure people were eager to get out, and it's Montana, the outdoors, and all that. So, was it a pretty good, warm reception for the initial opening?
Oh yeah, it was like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
People, like I said, it had been gone for a little while, but when they came in, it was like a different, back to the old way things used to be.
Yeah. What did you do to sort of get your name out there in the community? Because after all, you just moved to this community pretty recently, right?
Yes, and you know, I've taken a course from a gentleman by the name of Mike Bosch, and it's called Unsliced.
Yep.
And he really emphasizes community and volunteering and donating, and that's what we did. And I want to be involved in my community. I donate to the Lakers baseball team here. We do a donation every year. It gives us a nice banner, and they also benefit from the money. We also donate to the Boy Scouts locally here. Any of the schools that might say something like, hey, we have a history trip in Montana. We're going to learn about this, this, and that, and we're just looking for some donations. We do that anywhere we can. We do, because I went on trips when I was a kid in high school. I went to DC and stuff like that, and people helped me. So any way that we can help out is what we do. I mean, it's just that's the best way to get embedded with your community. Sports programs are huge, because parents really appreciate helping their kids out or helping the team out. And then at the same time, you get a benefit too of having a banner or some kind of advertising. Um, yeah, just help the community be involved, get to know the schools. We even brought free pizzas by the hotels when we first opened, and I'll do that still occasionally. Hey, here's free pizza for you. I give out free gifts, gift cards. Hey man, here's a free gift card for you. Because when you give a $25 gift card to somebody, it's not like you're going to lose money. I mean, you might initially a little bit on the front end, but they're going to buy a cheese bread, or they're going to add something to their order, or they're going to have their uncle with them, and he's like, "Say, yeah, I'll get a large pizza." So you might lose a little bit on that $25, but your food cost of that $25 is way less. So so you're losing a little bit, but on the front end, I mean the back end, you're going to actually reap the benefits because they're going to enjoy the food, they're going to have a great experience, and now they're going to know a new pizza shop in town that they want to go to. Maybe you win them over, and now your spot is their spot.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a win-win. But don't look at it like that as just the greedy side of, oh, I'm going to do this because I want to just get in bed with the community and I want everybody to love me and stuff like that. You really have to do it with a heart because you do want to help people, and you do want people to know that, hey, you're a community involved business, and you want everybody to know that you're supporting them.
I think that's a really good point. Like people can smell the person who's just there to get their name out there and nothing more. I feel like it kind of
Yes.
it shows.
Yeah, have conversations, have a little relationship with them, get to know what their school is doing or what the sports program is doing. Talk to them when they come in your restaurant, the coach that you're giving money to, his son. Hey, how's it going? How's Hunter doing? How's he doing? Is he doing good this year? What's his batting average? That kind of stuff. Just it doesn't have to be an hour long conversation, but just a little chit chat and just so you know how he's doing. I mean, you are giving your money to that person,
Yeah.
so you'd like to know if it's being utilized for something good, or did the kid drop out and halfway through the season, what happened? Um, so
It always strikes me, I think there's a through line between what you're talking about with social media and the community outreach where sometimes when I talk to people and they're like, I know I should do the social media thing, but I don't like it. Or, I know I should be out in the community, but it's just not me. It's just not what I do. And for me, it's always like, should you own a pizza shop then? Because those things
yeah,
seem like really
it's critical.
integral parts to what it's like in 2025 to actually make it work.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only way I think you can make it work is to be active in social media, unless you have, you know, like you're not a new business, but if you're well established, 40, 50-year-old business, yeah, you're going to have those customers that know you and you'll be that iconic spot. But if you can't do it and you don't want to do it, find an employee that wants to,
Exactly.
and give them a bonus or give them a little extra pay bump or something like that. Always check their work, check their videos and check their photos to make sure that it's approved, that nobody's doing anything inappropriate in the background, or there's a big sauce bucket spilled on the floor and then you're videotaping that. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it's just you want to make sure you manage and maintain those people that help you, but you got to be involved. If you're not involved, you are killing yourself. I mean, you're killing yourself from Google. You're killing yourself from your customers and your reach and your base. So yeah, I think it's absolutely critical.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Let's talk about your menu a little bit. Three different unique pizza styles, right? At this point.
Yeah, we do three different. We do New York, Detroit, and Sicilian, and we have
Yeah.
calzones and cheese breads and cinnamon sticks. That's it. That's all we do.
The calzones look unbelievable, by the way. Like
Thank
my
you.
mouth was watering over here.
Oh man, they're so good. They got the ricotta in there. We got a little special garlic spread that we put in there, and a little bit on top with the Parmesan cheese and Romano cheese.
Oh
And you
man,
just
come
bite
on,
into
man.
it. You dip it. You really put your sauce on top or dip it in there. Yeah, our calzones. We were making those since the '80s, so we make them the same way. And a good calzone is hard to find.
Yeah. When you were getting re-embedded with not re-embedded, reacquainted with the dough making process and stuff, did you have go to resources and how did you land on these three different pizza styles?
You know what? It's funny to say that because I did a lot of research on YouTube. I remembered the basics of the measurements because we just use, flour, water, salt, sugar, and yeast.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it's not a real hard
Yeah.
thing, but you want to get your measurements right because it all affects your dough, the maturation and the fermentation and the crumb structure and the rise. If you don't get those measurements right, and then what happens in the walk-in cooler too, right? And how long you let it sit in there, and what's the temperature, and how many times the door is open and closed, and um, so getting the recipe, I remembered what we did, and then I also saw a video of Tom Lehman, um, the dough doctor, right? Yeah,
R.I.P.
he
Yeah.
yes, yeah, he passed away. He was a great guy. He just very informative, and so I saw this video. I think it was probably filmed in the '90s. It was maybe on a VHS recorder,
Yeah.
but it was one of the best I saw. And then I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's right, okay. So then I kind of put it together, and then it was pretty simple because it was very, very similar to what I did. There's a couple changes as far as the hydration, but so we use the same dough for all three styles. Yeah, we don't have a separate dough process, but we prepare them a little differently, obviously.
Okay. And can you use the same oven for all three styles as well?
We do conveyor. It's a Middleby Marshall PS360 at our original location, and then we have a PS550 Middleby Marshall at our new location, triple decker.
Okay.
So we use that to par bake our doughs, to cook all the pizzas. Yeah.
So you're part baking the Detroits or the Sicilians as well. I don't even know how you make a Sicilian to be honest.
Well, we par bake in our Detroits. The Sicilian's a little different process, but
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. You noted that your wife kind of came through with a big hack that helped bake the tomato sauce of a fully formed idea. Will you share with us what she did, or is that a proprietary secret?
Ooh, I'd have to kill everybody that knew about it. You know, very, if that got out, it's a very proprietary secret. Even our employees don't know it. Only
Really?
my sons know it, at
Okay.
the shop. My wife knows it. I know it. So if we die, we're in trouble. We
I
got
like a
we
well
got a
kept.
vacation.
Yeah. I like a well kept
Well,
pizza
but
secret.
there's backups to access it in case in events of an untimely death. Somebody will have some other family members will be able to get access to it. But no, it is something very special that we keep secret. Um, and we have aspirations of maybe even uh, packaging or bottling our sauce and maybe selling it someday in
Yeah.
a larger production line.
Yeah.
People really they ask for all the time. It's amazing on spaghetti. It's more amazing on pizza, calzones. It's just really good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it sounds versatile too, which is great.
Oh yeah,
Um, how did you know it was time for store two?
good question. So I had been collecting stuff for our second shop for the last 2.5 years because I wanted to expand.
Hmm.
Um, so I would get mounts, animal mounts, deer mounts, elk mounts, hiking stuff, just all kinds of stuff that we can put on the walls, backpacks and stuff like that, just to make the vibe kind of consistent with what we have at our current location. That's only a 1,400 square foot location. It has a small, maybe 150 square foot lobby, little slice bar, six-seater thing where you can have your slice and look outside. But the next shop we did want to do a larger sit down. We wanted to um, stay close, not close, but we wanted to be on the north side of the city we're at now, Kalispell. That was kind of like the next move. I could kind of bring my employees to both locations. If we're short, somebody calls in, we could kind of fill the gap. But it kind of just happened organically. So my wife went by about 2 years ago with our food trailer at the time. We don't have the trailer now. She said, "Hey, we can, the second location we're at now. They have a mercantile, they have a puppet golf, they have an event center, they have concerts, all Midland country group in August. So it's a really, really awesome spot, and they have like 56 acres behind where we're at. So the potential for growth is amazing. But she went to the mercantile and told the owner, "Hey, if you ever want to bring our food trailer over there, we can." Oh, that's a great idea. Okay. So we didn't hear anything for like 2.5 years, 2 years. Well, one day, about 6, 7 months ago, the owner, the husband, and his two sons came to our Kalispell location and had some pizza, some slices.
Yeah.
And my son Christian, he gave them great customer service, and they were just really impressed. Even the slices reheated, they were like, "This is amazing. We got to have you at our place." So they're like, "What's going on?" And I was in DC at the time, so I couldn't meet them right away. So when I got back, I met with them, and they took us into the shop where they wanted us to move into and showed us the opportunity. It's about 4,700 square feet. It has outside seating on both sides, full dining room, and then the kitchen. But the problem was, oh, you asked about how did I know it was time. I knew it
Yeah.
was time because we actually went on a vacation for 12 days and the shop ran perfect. There was a couple little DoorDash issues, to be honest with you, but other than that, it ran perfect. So we have amazing employees, and my sons work for us too. But so I knew we were ready. We had our systems down, our processes down, and we had to make the leap. And because they approached us randomly and they asked us, it kind of sped up that second location. So that's kind of how I said, how did you know? Well, when somebody presents an opportunity like this, you don't want to pass it down or pass it up.
Yeah.
So they basically the kitchen had a food trailer they had backed up to a building, had two holes, and they served food out of the two holes. They had enclosed the building around it. But I told them like, hey, we can't do it out of a food trailer. If we're gonna have to do this, we have to like actually rip the food trailer out of here and redesign the kitchen. We have to put a walk-in cooler, extend the building a little bit. And they were willing to do everything we asked for. Just an amazing family. Their names are Archer family. Really, really nice family. They have two sons, a daughter. The husband and wife run the whole property, the mercantile, and everything that's going on in the event center.
Yeah.
So when they presented that to us, and we were kind of like, this is too good. It was further out too. It was about 22 miles from our current location,
Okay.
which is actually pretty good because we're not cannibalizing our original location. And it's right between Glacier National Park, Columbia Falls area, and Whitefish, right on the main thoroughfare, Highway 40, that goes in between the both cities and to the park. So it's just so when we had that opportunity presented to us, we couldn't turn it down. So that's how it all came about, and how we knew now it's time for the second location because too good of an opportunity.
Yeah, you put like a drone shot of the whole kind of complex up on Instagram, and it looks unbelievable. It looks like such a fun time for families to come and hang
Oh
out and
yeah,
just people to spend time.
they got cornhole, they have pickleball, they have the putt-putt golf, obviously, and then they have the event center too. They just got done with the Fresh Life Church in Kalispell. Levi Lusko, he's a big pastor
Okay.
worldwide.
Yeah.
He had maybe like 1,000 kids there, and then the
Wow.
country concerts in August. It's just going to be crazy. A little
Yeah.
more than we'll see. We'll see how we handle it. All
tell
those
me,
people.
tell us a little bit, and maybe I should have asked this earlier in the conversation, but tell us a little bit more about is it the Flathead Valley? Is that the right terminology? Yeah, just tell us about the area. Is it tourist driven? People year round? Is it second home residence? Is a little bit of everything?
Yeah, it used to be like a seasonal um, county and the
Yeah.
cities around the area.
Yeah.
But now it's a year-round thing. There's been so many people that have moved here since COVID. It's almost like people watch Yellowstone and they get inspired by Yellowstone and the outdoors and the buffalo where I went around and the bison and the moose and they just and it is beautiful, but you're not going to see those things every day. I haven't seen a bear in probably 2 years, going through the park and different
Knock on
things we've
wood.
been driving through. Yeah, they're there, but they're just up in the hills. But
Yeah.
you'll see them. But people think you see them in their backyard every day asking for food or something. It's not. They're not that prevalent, and they're scared of humans. So, yeah, I mean, so the community that we live in is obviously locals, but you have a lot of people that have money that have moved in the area, also Lakeside, Whitefish, and Kalispell too. So it's changed. The dynamic has changed as far as a lot of the locals are a little upset that it's almost like Tahoe now, where the prices of land and property have gone
Yeah.
up so much that the locals can't buy anymore. It's harder for them to get into the market or buy a house. Unfortunately, we've been here since 2013 before it was even popular. Nobody wanted to move here. The
Oh,
economy
so
was
you
depressed.
had a second home there at that point. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
We had land, and then we eventually built a house.
Yeah.
Um, so we came here before it was popular. Nobody wanted to be here. My wife came here when she was a kid, and she was around 10 years old, fell in love with it. She came back out here in 2010 with my niece, two nephews, and my son just for a vacation. And she fell in love with it again as an adult. She was like, "This is the most amazing place on earth, and you got to come out there." So, like in 2012, I think it came out, and I fell in love with it. So that's how we said we're moving here eventually. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's growing. It's kind of sad in some senses when you've been here since I've seen it in 2012, and I knew what the roads look like and all the
Yeah.
open land hadn't been developed yet, and now it's kind of developing, and a little thing. They're not going to develop high rises or 30-story high rises, but 2 or 3 story buildings here and there kind of affect the view. So it's a little sad in some way, but it's progress, and progress is good. It's still just the most amazing place that I've ever seen.
Yeah. It's always funny when locals grumble about growth, which is totally understandable. And we've kind of all been there where we have something that is like we feel like is perfect and it starts attracting more and more people, whether it's like a band you love or if it's even as abstract. And then I this is a digression, but I remember working at a newspaper in down here in North Carolina, and I got a letter to the editor from somebody who was like, "I moved here 5 years ago, and I hate how much it's changing." And I wanted to be like, well, you're one of the people who moved here to change it. You know what I mean? So it's just funny.
Yeah,
Like people have
exactly.
short memories, or
Or
very
some people
specific
say,
ideas of what it should be.
yeah, that's true. I mean, I mean, the locals, if they sell their land, it's kind of like, well, you're the ones who sold to the outsiders, you know.
Yeah,
But it's just progress. I mean, things change, and change is good, but there's so much land here that it'll never be to the point where you're like, I gotta move. We gotta go to Mars now. We gotta
yeah,
go to Mars, or way up in Alaska. We gotta go
yeah.
up, way up there. But it's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I do sympathize. We've all been there. So, I guess one thing I'm interested in is what do you think the biggest change, and you kind of alluded to some of it, but from when your parents were running a pizza shop in the 1980s to now, like what do you think is the biggest, most impactful change that's happened in the industry in that 40 years or whatever?
Oh man, speed of everything, speed of orders, speed of fulfillment, happiness.
Yeah.
Our customers expect everything like 10 times faster than it should take. You know what I mean? As
Yeah.
far as quality and food and stuff like that. Um, that's the biggest thing. I think the electronic um, revolution. Because back in the day, there was, like I said, it was just you take orders on a ticket. You would, you fulfill the order, and it would be handled manually at the end of the night. Kids would play video games in the arcade. They'd come back. They'd interact with their family at the table. They'd talk. And now it's just kind of a different vibe. When people eat a lot of times. Um, or when they have their food, they take it home, and maybe in some cases they're not really eating out as much as they used to. They take it home, DoorDash, Grubhub. They're delivering food to people's homes. You don't see them sometimes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a good question. I just think that I don't know. It's kind of leaves me a little bit perplexed as far as like exactly what it is, or to put a nail on it, or finger on it. Not sure.
Do you feel like somebody who returned to the industry, or do you feel like a newcomer to the industry?
I feel like both.
Yeah.
I feel like I was in it, and I didn't take the shot. I didn't actually fulfill it. And now I came back, and I have more energy than I do, when I was a kid. And I have more energy than I do when I was in law enforcement. I go every day, and you have those days where you're not super excited, because you're tired, or you got something going on, or you had a couple problems where you had to pay for some equipment to be repaired, or you have friends coming out of town, and that's awesome to see your friends. But at the same time, 3 or 4 days away from paperwork or things that you need to catch up on is being delayed. So, I think that, yeah, I think it's both. Um, little bit of a newcomer because these guys have gone through a revolution in the last 20 years,
Yeah.
and now they're at where they today that had pizza shops. I'm just kind of like busting out in the last 4 years, and we're just really pushing hard to catch up. And I think we're there. I think our food product is really good, and I think that we have the potential to expand and open up opportunities for my sons and my employees. And that's why I really do this, and that's why I'm pushing so hard. Is because I want to provide opportunities for my sons. I want them to have, they didn't go to college. They're good kids, they're smart. But and for my employees too, those that really want to do it and have the heart and the hustle, I want them to have their own range of Joes. And it's a simple concept. It's a simple menu. And we might add a few things here and there, but we're always going to keep it simple. We're not going to have subs. We're not going to have, um, all those things, salads. Just kind of convolute the menu and pastrami sandwiches and all that kind of stuff. We're sticking with pizza, three styles, cheese breads, and cinnamon sticks. That's it. And what we do is really, really good. So, yeah, I want to have that opportunity for my employees. I want and my sons.
Yeah. What does expansion
That's why,
look
that's why I
like?
push so hard.
Yeah. Do you think it'll be franchising, or do you think you'll corporately own all the locations?
You know what? I want to franchise the concept that we have in the south end of Kalispell, which is a 1,400 square foot location
Mm-hmm.
with a drive-through, and it's easier to run than a dine-in. You got to worry about changing soda bibs, and you got to cups you got to order, and
Sure.
you got customer service in the dining room, make sure that everything's clean, make sure the napkins are refilled, make sure that, the customers are being taken care of, be alert, go outside, wipe the tables down. So there's a lot more things involved with the sit down dine in than there is with the takeout delivery drive through. So that we have dialed in with our systems and procedures. And I think it's a much easier concept to duplicate. So that's where we want to go with it. I
I'm
mean, when, sure. I think maybe after about a year of running our second location, we get everything solid and dialed in, we might be able to entertain that.
So you're opening this shop with the understanding that it's like almost a playbook for how you'll open future shops then.
The dining one?
Yeah. Or
No,
well,
that
the
was
second one.
more
It's like a
the
different
second one.
one-off thing. Okay, I see what you're saying.
It's kind of like a different one off. It's more of, yeah, we'll see how that goes, but I think the best reproducible
Yeah,
concept is the takeout delivery.
is the Delco. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I was kind of winding down here, but you brought up something which I definitely wanted to ask you about, which is the
Yeah.
drive-through window. My ears perked up when you mentioned that your parents had a drive-through window, and I had seen on your social channels that you also have a drive-through window. How does that work? How did it work for your parents, and what made you want to do that?
Well, it worked out good for my parents. They didn't really have a system like we've developed. They were having people, they were pissed off sitting in line for like 20 minutes or pizza, people behind them for 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They didn't have their loop around and, hey, can you do this? A speaker. So there was a lot of frustrated customers. So when we did it this time, um, it was already in the building. The place we're at now is a coffee shop.
Okay.
So I had a small drive-through window.
Yeah.
We had to actually knock it out and put a drive-through window that would handle like 20 inches,
A
because
pizza. Yeah.
16. We want to make sure we're not tipping the pizza. Here you go. Here's your pizza. We couldn't do that.
Right.
So we had to change that out. And so now, and it had a speaker out there, but it wasn't functional. So we had to run some lines and some conduit and get so we just do a basic simple. When they come up, it's got a plate in the asphalt that senses metal. And then it will just start dinging inside the restaurant. Dee, dee. So we come up with, thanks for coming to Ranger Joe's. Do you have a pickup order? And they'll say, yes. Okay, great. Can I get your name? Johnson. Okay, please pull forward. So when we do it like that, it gives us a chance to turn around, look at our hot box, find Johnson. So we're not saying, yeah, pull forward. Sometimes they'll take 15 seconds. Maybe they're on their phone and they'll pull forward. And then now we've got to ask them, what's your name? So we wasted 15 to 20, 30 seconds. So you ask them at the speaker, what's your name? Now you can go find it in the restaurant. You started on your mission. So you're looking in the hot boxes. If they're not there, then they're either on the cut line. If it's not on the cut line, it's still on the make line. So we train our employees to go find those tickets. If you can't find it, sometimes somebody says, I ordered it under Jim, but it's actually under their wife's name, Martha.
Right.
So we can't find it. What's the last 4 your phone number? And then we'll look for the phone number. So it's not a perfect system, but it's the best we can do. And once they pull forward, we just hit like disconnect and it stops beeping. Now, let's say they come in and they say, or we say, hey, it's going to be probably another 10, 12 minutes on the make on it a little early. We tell them, do you guys mind looping around one time or maybe just kind of hanging out and come back through in about 10, 12 minutes?
Yeah.
And 95% of the time, people are totally okay with that. They're not upset. They're not like angry, and they understand. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how we handle it. We do a loop around, and usually that's pretty good.
What if somebody drives up and they want to place an order?
Yes, that happens. So we let them know. Unfortunately, we don't place orders through the drive-through because we have a big menu inside. We also have paper menus inside, and sometimes it gets really busy. Um, but if it's dead, I will, dead, but like there's not much business.
Sure.
Or maybe during like afternoon or on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and there's not much going on in the afternoon, I'll say, I'll take your order this time, but just so you know, in the future, we normally don't take the orders through the drive-through because it gets so busy. But I got you today. What would you like?
Yeah.
And that trains them. Hopefully, the next time they won't do that again. But usually, people are okay if we're busy and we have to tell them, hey, would you guys mind coming inside and placing an order? You can always go online. Go online, place your order. And they're like, yeah, no problem. But yeah, and we even get people coming through sometimes that still say, hey, I'd like a triple shot mocha latte.
No
whatever,
way.
like unfortunately we're not coffee shop anymore, we're pizza, because we don't have like a board out there for ordering, so they don't know. They don't. The sign's right above. They should be looking. It says pizza.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of educate people.
That's really funny. People don't read signs. I don't read signs. You know what I mean? I was at the airport recently and they were like, don't take your electronics out in this line. And in the other line, they were taking it out. It was like weird. It was like two different systems. So I start taking it out, and the guy's like, didn't you read the sign? I'm like, no, I didn't read the sign, man. Obviously, I didn't read the sign. What do you think? I read the sign and did the opposite?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Will the drive-through be?
And you got to be patient with those people,
Yeah, be patient with me. I can't
get frustrated with them. Yeah.
That's right. Would the drive-through be a component of whatever you do when you're expanding? Do you think, like, if you went to franchise this?
I really think it's a necessary component, especially here in Montana, because we get such weather that, we get snowstorms, we get really hard rain, a lot of snow during the 4 or 5 months out of the year.
Sure.
So for people to, and women have, or husbands have kids in the car, and it's just so easy for them to roll up and you give them their pizza. They love it. They don't have to get too wet. And we have a cover above, so it really keeps them dry. So yeah, I think it definitely would be important. It depends on the building we find. Like this one here, we could have, in the newest location, we could have incorporated a drive-through, but there's a cross path where all the putt-putt golfers kind of walk through from the mercantile to where they check in. So it's kind of like a safety issue. We decided not to go with it. Now down the road, maybe we could.
Yeah. Well, this has been fantastic. Appreciate you being willing to do this with us. And
yeah, man.
Yeah, huge Ranger Joe's fans now.
Also, it's an honor to be on your show, and hope you can make it out to Montana.
Yeah.
And visit us,
Yeah, I'd love to.
And
Thanks
remember,
so much.
like I always say, adventure's not complete without pizza.
There it is. The one take Joe, man. All right.
Thanks, Charlie.
Buddy.
All right, bye-bye.